What a beautiful day to be out in the garden. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today we are going to go through this gorgeous garden here at Walters Gardens and show you some of the midsummer drought-tolerant perennials that are currently in bloom. I think you're in for a real treat. There's so much color today. I think it's going to be hard to choose what we're going to talk about, but we're going to have some great ones that we'll be featuring. So let's go ahead and take a walk through the garden. It's daylily season right now, and this ruby spider is putting on a fantastic show of color. Gorgeous burgundy blooms with a yellow center. It's fairly tall as well, about 3 foot or so tall. Usually starts blooming in June or July, kind of depending on where you live. This daylily is hardy in zones 3 to 9, so definitely has a great spectrum as far as hardiness that covers most of the zones that we ship to. It can be planted in full sun to part sun locations and is rabbit resistant. So if you're looking to add some big flower color in the form of daylilies to your garden, ruby spider is an excellent selection. Look at this gorgeous mass planting here of the Russian sage denim and lace. This is part of an Easyscape garden, which has multiple plants in it for multiple seasons of color. But right now, midsummer, this denim and lace is really stealing the show in this area of the garden. This gets about 32 inches tall and about 24 or so inches wide at maturity. As you can see, it looks great when it's planted in mass. When you go up close on the flowers, even the florets themselves are quite substantial in size compared to a lot of other Russian sage on the market. It likes to be planted in full sun and is drought tolerant once it's established. As with all plants, I have to be careful when I say drought tolerant because people will plant it and then not water it at all. Certainly that's not the case. You have to make sure that you're watering freshly planted plants. But once they are established, they are drought tolerant in the garden. This is a great plant for pollinators. It attracts the hummingbirds. It's also deer resistant. And as mentioned again, drought tolerant. So if you want to plant just one in the garden or plant in mass, you are surely going to have quite an impressive display of color in that midsummer garden. Firefly diamond yarrow gets 28 inches tall and can spread up to 40 inches wide at maturity. So you can see this little grouping here is not mature yet because these are only about 12 to 18 inches wide. I love the crisp white blooms of the Firefly diamond. I also love what white does in the garden at night. This plant is hardy in zones 3 to 8. It has gorgeous white blooms and likes to be planted in full sun to part sun locations. Once established, this is also a very drought tolerant plant, perfect for planting in rock gardens and areas like that. If you're looking for something deer and rabbit resistant, you can also check that off the list when you're considering the Firefly diamond Achillea. I love planting Kniphofia in the garden because of the way that they just kind of have their upright presence. You can see in this garden here, there's several of them planted right along the middle of this garden bed. They're kind of a fun and whimsy looking flower. Solar Flare features bright yellow blooms, and it's a solid bloom. A lot of Kniphofia can be more of a variegated coloration, but these here are a solid bloom, and these are a taller variety, getting about 3.5 foot tall here in the garden. Hardy in zones 5B to 9, so if you are a zone 5 or 4 gardener, this might be more of a tender perennial for you in your garden space. It likes to be grown in a full sun location, and just look at it. It's so showing off today here in the gardens. It's drought tolerant once it's established. So if you have an area of your garden that maybe doesn't get quite as much water as others, it will be happy there, but it's equally as happy in fertile soil locations as well. It attracts butterflies and hummingbirds and bees to the garden and is an excellent cut flower if you're loving to go out to the garden and cutting some of your blooms to bring in to enjoy. Kniphofia is has a nice, strong, sturdy stem, so makes an excellent cut flower as well. Heliopsis is a long blooming perennial in the garden, and this particular one we're looking at here is the Tuscan Gold. Tuscan Gold gets 24 to 36 inches tall and about 24 or so inches wide. It's hardy in zones 3 to 9 and can be planted in full sun to part sun locations. If you're looking for something that can handle just a little bit more of a drought type situation, this is a plant that can handle the drought once it's established. It generally blooms midsummer to late summer. and is great for those cottage or eclectic style gardens. Not deer and rabbit resistant, but this is a native variety here in the United States. The thing I like about Kniphofia is they come in so many different colors. So here's one that's just a straight orange color. Again, I love that whimsy, fun habit of it. And you can see they have it planted all the way throughout this garden bed. It's such a cool looking plant. So this one here is a Kniphofia Orange Blaze, and it likes to be grown in full sun areas of the garden. It gets about 2.5 foot tall, so a little shorter than some of the other varieties, and about 2.5 foot wide. The hardiness zone is 5B to 9. Once it's established, it's drought tolerant, and this is a fairly long blooming perennial in the garden as well. It attracts butterflies and hummingbirds, and even is bee friendly. So if you're looking to kind of create a fun eclectic look in the garden, or you've got more of a cottage or modern style, really I think Kniphofia fit in to just about any different garden style. And they also pair quite nicely with daylilies if you like to grow daylilies in your garden. And even when they're not in bloom, I love the strappy green foliage. It looks like just kind of a nice spiky mound of grass. When planting a garden, it's not only flowers that are important, it's the foliage as well. And here is an excellent specimen of ornamental grass. This is called Panicum totem pole. And the thing I like about Panicum totem pole is the habit of the plant. So there is a grouping here of, I think, 3 plants. You only really need to use 1 if you want, or you can create even like a border with the ornamental grasses. Totem pole can get 6 foot tall, and later in the season, it'll send up its flower spikes. It's only about 2.5 foot wide, so it's got a nice upright columnar habit. It's hardy in zones 4 to 9. Gorgeous bluish greenish foliage. You can kind of see this in the video a little bit, how it's got a little bit of a bluish tinge to it. Totem pole likes to be planted in a full sun location and is deer resistant. So not only do grass add a lot of motion and energy, I think, into a garden, it's also a great plant, especially if deer tend to be a problem in your garden. They have great summer presence, but in the fall, when those flower spikes emerge, they add a lot of great fall interest as well. Oh man, this is just beautiful, and I'm loving how it's moving in the garden today. I love the versatility of the Astilbe dark side of the moon. It can be grown in full sun to full shade gardens. Now, the more sun it gets, the more vibrant that deep dark foliage is going to be. And these beautiful purple blooms are so striking in the garden. Right here, it's planted in a full sun garden, and you can see it's paired with some hardy hibiscus, and in front of it, some Allium millennium. So if you're looking to create a grouping, that would be a perfect grouping to kind of stagger your summer color. Astilbe dark side of the moon gets about 22 inches tall and can spread to about 28 inches wide. It's hardy in zones 4 to 9. Oh, look at that. The pollinators, too, are just loving this plant. And as mentioned, it can be planted in full sun to full shade gardens. Depending on where you're located in the United States, you may find that this does do just a little bit better in a part shade garden. I love Stokes aster, also known as Stokesia in the garden, because it's a very long blooming perennial. Here we have Stokesia totally stoked whitecap, and the purple one behind it is part of the Totally Stoked series called RIPTIDE. So as I mentioned, this is a long blooming perennial in the garden. Right now we've got shades of purple and also of white. It gets about 26 inches tall and spreads to about 36 inches wide. So it kind of creates a sprawling mound of beautiful color. It's hardy in zones 5 to 9 and likes to be grown in a full sun location. Low water needs to average water needs to consistent water needs. So what does that mean? It means it's versatile in just about any area in the garden. And look at that. The pollinators also are loving the Stokesia. If you have any questions or comments on the video you've seen today on any of these gorgeous perennials, you can head to our website, gardencrossings.com, and shop for any of your favorites, or you can leave comments in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.